Alrighty, you're on.
Hello, I'm Nick Rossman. I'm the president of Group MS4.
I'm Andrew Johnston. I'm a medical expert in our group.
I'm Coleman Simpson. I'm the fuel expert in our group.
And I'm Jaden Knight, the professional meteorologist.
We are also missing our other member, Benjamin Boucher. He was our mechanic expert on engines and everything like that. He's not here at the moment, so Rossman will be taking over his job.
Okay. Our crash report was on the Varga Kachina N5074V. Yeah.
I missed.
All right. Pilot info. The pilot's name was Thomas Glum. He lived on 1313 East 9th Street, Vancouver, Washington. He was 53 years old. He was born in 1939, or December 21st, 1939. Pardon me. He was certified. He was certified as a Class 3 medical. So, which means that he just had a basic physical done. He qualified for flying. He was the only pilot in the plane. He was only a recreational flyer. He only had 42 hours of experience with the Varga Kachina, but in total he had 320 hours of total flight time and 0 hours of instrument flight time.
Medical info about our pilot. He was 53 years old. He was born December 21st, 1939, as I was already stated. He was certified Class 3, like that was also said, which basically means his basic flight medical. He was able to see, he was the proper weight, hear, all that basic stuff. He had a 60% left chronic artery blockage. All of his, he wasn't, and that was the only thing that was wrong with him medically, and he was also overweight.
Toxicology report. He wasn't under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or anything. I mean, he was fine. He was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't that.
Our plane model was 1976 Varga Kachina, 2150A SNVAC 6376. Max weight of the plane was 1,817 pounds. Total airframe was 1,126 hours. And DOA was 1010, was October 10th, 1993 is when they started producing this plane.
Is there any questions up to this point? Okay. All right. This would have been under Boucher's part. The FAA engine teardown. It was just a single engine plane. The manufacturer was Avco Lycoming. Yeah, Lycoming. It had 160 horsepower. The engine designation was 320 A2C flat 4 engine. It had a max range of 525 miles with a full tank of fuel, and it was a dual type propeller blade.
Okay. Why we believe the plane crashed was because of bad fuel. This can happen for many reasons, as if the fuel is not contained in a proper containing unit. If it's not sealed correctly, water vapor can get into the fuel, and it can contaminate the fuel and ruin its potency. This can cause engine failure, which is why we believe the plane was crashed.
The electronics failure. The only thing that happened on the plane was was after the impact, the battery on the plane burst, which caused the plane to lose all electrical power, which also prevented a fire and aided us in the investigation, because there was no fire damage really to take into account. So, but there was no electronics failure as a cause of crash.
If there had been an electronic fire, it would have been even worse because he did still have a full tank of gas even during his flight before and after the crash. So the battery jumping out of the plane really saved a lot of stuff.
Weather, pretty much for this particular day of flight, the weather was in horrible condition. It was rainy, windy, stormy, cloudy, whatever. The storm that it was in did have an effect on the crash, and it was just and all in all, it was just a bad day to go fly.
Since he had zero instrument practice, the weather was due to it because he had no way of like navigating and everything like that. So
He wasn't prepared for much of anything.
Crash location.
So this is a map of the crash location located in Oregon. Is it Burns? Is that correct?
Yes.
Ohio.
No, Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah, Burns, Oregon. It was in a dried out lake bed. So, and he was only in flight for a few minutes before he crashed. And the way that we were able to tell that is because when he crashed, the planes pivot forward into like a 45-degree angle, indicating that it was still filled with fuel.
Okay. He took off from the runway down here and managed to make it to the, sorry about that, Paiute Reservoir, where he crashed, which was the dried lake bed, which was found was only about 4 miles away, which also takes into account why he had the full tank of fuel. Crash details. The plane hit the
Plane hit the ground and impacted at 93 miles per hour. Angle of impact was close to 82 degrees after impact. The plane shifted back down to a 45-degree angle. Upon impact, the interior of impact caused the end of the tail to snap off and land in front of the plane, also known as a scorpion. The plane was pulling 4.2 Gs at the speed of landing. Plane also scorpion, as I just mentioned. Cause of death was when he crashed, obviously he's gonna die, but his upper body was cut in half by the seatbelt and he landed 5 feet from his cockpit. So he was cut in half and he was 5 feet from the plane, the top half.
witness reports. One of the witnesses says the plane flew low to the runway several times, and several passes, then flew straight up until it reached its max altitude, and then came right back down at full throttle. Another witness said the plane flew past once, but then also said that it went right back up, then came all the way down. And a third one also agrees with the first that it flew low several times, but then climbed to a lower altitude, but then stalled and then fell towards the ground where it hit.
List of findings: planes were pitched forward on the plane, crash indicating it was full of fuel. Plane's battery burst on impact, which caused little to no fire damage to the aircraft. Plane scorpion indicating it impacted in a steep angle. Recommendations is to always inspect your plane before you're about to fly, and always check your fuel, make sure it's all good, you're full and everything. And check your weather forecast for the time that you're going to be flying and what day. Also, always take safety seriously, because obviously people do die in these messes and it's always a bummer that people die. And make sure that you pass the proper medical exams before flying. Alright. Alright, and then
Hold on a second. We have the crash facts. Alright. We just have the facts that we already know, that the plane hit at the steep angle. It was a Varga Kachina 2150A. Sorry about that, there's a little typo in there. Pilot was cut in half by the seatbelt. The plane hit at 82 knots, which was about just under 95 miles an hour. There was a compression in the fuselage, which indicates that it hit at a very steep angle, but then shifted back to a 45 degrees. There was no fire damage. The wings were completely full of fuel. Flight time, it was only a few minutes before the crash occurred. Sorry about that. The pilot was 53 years old. No typo, sorry. The left carotid artery was 60% blocked, which was and he had a Class 3 medical certificate.
we don't have a reenactment, by the way.
Yeah. And we just had a bunch of questions that were already answered.
That concludes
That's
that.
it. Just any questions?
Yeah, any questions? Criticism.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Ben Hoffman, and you guys had a very well put together presentation, but I do want to pinpoint you. you had a very good speaking voice, but you talk really fast. It's kind of hard to follow, but all in all, it was a good presentation. You just kind of work on not talking so fast.
Thank you, I'll take that.
I'm Cadet Robbins, and I have a question. Did you guys believe that there was any damage to the aircraft before the flight?
There was no damage.
There was none.
The only indicating was the bad fuel. That's it.
Any other criticisms?
Hello, Deputy, and you guys' presentation, it was really good. But
However,
I don't know.
It's just that good.
Another thing I noticed, you guys, some slides, you have really light colored wording on light colored backgrounds. Followed as well.
We tried to fix that from.
Yeah, but
sorry about
that
that.
was his.
Okay.
Well, I'm Cadet Pierce, and I think your guys' presentation overall, like everyone else said, was good and well put together. Something that I would work on is reading from the screen. Maybe if you guys could memorize it just a little bit next time and not really read from the screen as much.
Thank you, Cadet Pierce. We'll take that into account.
Hi, you guys did it really well, I think. Maybe because you said that the bad fuel was part of the recent crash, maybe you guys could do something say how you can check for fuel maybe, or, because, yeah.
Why was the bad fuel bad?
It's not contained properly in water vapor mixed with the fuel.
Why was it not contained properly?
Human factor.
Why was it human factor that made it not contained properly?
Because the person that was supposed to seal it did not seal it correctly because he was more focused on eating out of a bag of Doritos and watching a football game.
Okay, well that's part of what the finding should be.
Thank you.
And look at each other's dress. Do you ever see anybody on CNN giving a briefing of somewhere where somebody's died looking like that? Did y'all ever think about dressing up?
Yes, sir, I did, but when I went to go grab my dresser, it was just dirty, so that was the only problem.
Okay.
You had human factor.
Yeah.
I'm Cadet Robbins, and I noted you had a really well presentation, as everyone else has said. But I noticed a lot of the times you guys would say when you were talking, and you'd say you'd pause to look and read.
Okay.
And
Okay.
All right, last one.
Memorization is important. Thank you, man.
I'm Cadet Level. Your presentation was very well done, and you all seemed to know what you were doing, especially because you didn't have somebody there. But on a few of the pages, I noticed that Cadet Rossman would start reading, and then Cadet Johnston would finish reading for you. So I think you need to know that if you're...
Please excuse this brief interruption. Just a note to let you know that the softball team is now to be released at noon,
Don't turn that off.
not 11:45. Again, softball release has changed to noon, not 11:45.
Turn it off.
Thank you.
Keep going.
I think that when you know or don't know that someone's going to be absent, you should make sure that everybody knows what they'll be reading.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. We'll take that into consideration.
That concludes our presentation.